if you have a meditation practice, like if you can take 10 seconds in that meditation to be like, okay, does the spirit of my business, does the soul of my business have anything to tell me today?
Mhm. Welcome to Wild and Finally Fucking Free, hosted by me, soul-fueled storyteller Kylie Fatchett. We dive into the truth-talking, unedited stories of metamorphosis, growth, and evolution. I deeply believe that sharing our stories holds transformative magic. Join us to listen to future humans, change agents, extraordinary ordinary people, healers, and paradigm shifters as we honor the power of our messy, magical stories. Let's get wild and finally fucking free together. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast episode. I have a very special guest today because her book literally just blew my mind apart and put it back together. Welcome, Sam Garcia. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm used to talking to people at 7 a.m. my time because I'm in Hawaii. It's like 1 p.m. So I'm like rolling on the
Yeah.
caffeine.
That's cool. Yeah. So it's, what is it to me? 9 a.m. So I'm actually at peak energy as well. So that's a good combo. But now, I'm sure that most people listening to this podcast will already know you, but if they don't, can you please introduce your beautiful self?
Hi, my name is Sam Garcia. I wrote the book Regenerative Business, How to Align Your Business with Nature for More Fulfillment, Impact, and Abundance.
Mm.
I have built my business as a marketing agency for spiritual online businesses
Mhm.
and it's been a decade now of supporting really innovative, cool, creative humans grow their business. And then now doing a lot of work around training, consulting, coaching with
Mhm.
regenerative business. And I also live on Maui with my husband, who's a regenerative farmer, and am an environmental activist. And the pulsing heart at the center of my being is really around working with the earth and aligning all of us to nature and
Mm.
also creating sovereignty because I personally think that society is collapsing, at least
Yep.
over here in the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh, well, yes.
we
Everywhere.
really, we really need humans who are sovereign, who have the resources and the mental, emotional, spiritual capacities
Yeah.
to outside of the system
Yep.
while it crumbles.
Yes, absolutely. You've just captured in your intro exactly what I got out of reading your book. Because I was just saying to you, so now I have to confess something. I bought your book when you released it. And then it sat on
Awesome.
my Kindle for an entire year
I have
until
so many of those. It's like my Kindle library is so full.
I hate reading things on a Kindle. Like I hate not having a physical book in my hand. So usually I order it on Kindle, I get into it, and then the physical book must be.
Yeah.
But I bought yours, and then my husband actually overtook my iPad, to be honest. That's why the Kindle was not being. Anyway, that's a whole other story. And I was on Instagram about, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and I was just doing the normal do. And I saw a post that you put up saying it's the year anniversary of the book. And I was like, downloaded that book. Where is it? And I went and found it. And I shit you not, it is
Also,
freezing
you
where I
just
am.
read it.
This is why I reached out to you. I'm like, oh my God, I need to have you on this podcast because I started reading at about 8 o'clock on a Saturday night and I ended up reading it on my phone screen. So not even on a big screen, on my phone screen under the covers. So I wouldn't wake my husband up until 2 o'clock in the freaking morning. That's how much I loved it because you put words to concepts that I'm, and we'll ask you about your kind of history with it, working hard. But I was trained to work hard. My worth was in how many hours and how much energy I could bleed out to get something done. Yeah, got lots of different degrees and all those sorts of things. But you were putting words to concepts that I had about things being broken. And I am a like born nonconformist, like a rebel against anything that you say I have to do. But I hadn't ever understood that you could capture a different way of running a business and being a human and being sovereign when you actually use the same principles that work in regeneration in farming. And I was like, so this is why you're here. So I literally, that's my confession. Anyway, thank you for writing the book. And before we even go into anything about what regenerative business means, I want to go backwards to, you talk about in the book, like you've got a degree in physics, which you've not ever used, which makes me giggle because I have one of those too. Not in physics, in cell biology of all things. So tell me more about that. So you're at college.
Mhm.
You're doing the college thing, but you've also been conditioned to be a good girl, high performer. You talk about being like the most likely to succeed type of person. Can you take us back to Sam of that age and what you actually thought about, work and how the world must work?
Okay. I'm
Such
gonna
a big question.
yeah, we'll see what rabbit holes we go down with this, but I grew up in an artist household. My mom went to art school and both my parents graphic designers. So in my dad's dad started a graphic design business in
That's
Detroit.
cool.
Yeah. Had all of and this was graphic design before there was Canva or Photoshop. So
Yeah,
like the actual markers in every single shade because you needed to have so all of that.
oh my
Um
God.
and
Sounds like heaven.
this was in Michigan, which is in the Midwest with the like Metro Detroit, Motor
Mm,
City,
mm,
with a failing auto industry because of outsourcing to manufacturing
yeah,
outside of.
mm, mm,
And so both of my parents really struggled. Like my grandpa, he did awesome. He did
yeah,
just right so successful as a graphic designer in Detroit. And then my dad took over his business, struggled. Like the entire time of my childhood, both my parents really like my mom, who did more of the corporate route, got laid off at
yeah,
one point, like all the things. And my dad really drilled into me that I have to go into math and science. And I'm also through school, I'm really good at math and science. It's just
yeah,
something that's
yeah.
naturally comes to me.
Mhm.
And as a woman, he was like, especially as a woman, go into math and science. It is where it'll stand you apart. It's where you get all of your financial aid and you can fast track your entire career. So I did that and I made a promise to him. And it was a huge ego boost too, because I'm one of there might be one other woman in physics classes in college.
Yep.
And so
Mhm.
there's something like, oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, you have a degree in physics and everyone's like, oh, she's smart. Like there's something like, but halfway through college, my dad died unexpectedly. And he it really threw me for a loop and he was so healthy, did all the things you were supposed to do, physically active, ate healthy food,
Mm.
was 55, like
Far
everything. So
out.
it it really catapulted my spiritual awakening and
Mm.
also so much trauma around like not believing in the powers that be and
Yeah.
the system and which are valid. But
Yeah. Well,
and at the time it was like very like trauma induced.
yes.
But I made a promise to him that I would get this degree. So I finished the degree and I was in an environmental fellowship and a minor in environmental science where like halfway through, like right before he died, like my environmental awakening happened, but I couldn't, and we didn't have
Yeah.
it. So that's how that came to be. And I'll stop there.
No, I think, I'm relating hard to so much of this because my thing, not a degree in physics, my degree's I've got a master's in forensic biology, and that was a similar sort of, that gives me, but what I really actually wanted to do and what I've always been lit up about is naturopathy and health and well-being from an integrative perspective, right? But then I go and do a science degree and I find myself working in hospitals and then in a lab environment run by a government. And I'm like, what the actual fuck have I done?
I fell out of love with science in that, not that scenario, but I worked
Mhm.
for 2 years in a biochemistry lab. And
You
I was like,
understand.
this is so granular. Like the head guy
Yes.
in the lab, he was published in Nature. So he had but it's like on this one protein of this
Yeah.
one DNA sequence. And it was just this. one, this is so singular that it wasn't actually engaging to me. And
Yeah.
also just being, because this was a lab at a research university, and
Yes.
every single lab is fighting for funding. And so you can't talk to anyone else. And it's just so these silos of research.
Silos. Yep. Yep.
And that's not how we're going to save the world.
Nope. And also, like that, again, the parallels are the same sort of thing in hospital-based medicine. Like I worked in sleep and respiratory medicine, so thoracic physicians and sleep specialists. But we would have patients and they would go down the hall and talk to the heart doctor separately. And again, no whole being. No, this is a heart, mind, soul, and someone who's living in an environment that has, impacts on them. So completely different to what actually works. Then I found traditional Chinese medicine. I was like, now here's a system I can buy into because I get how everything interrelates and everything. So did you ever use the physics? So you worked in biochem. So what happened? Because you you jump into having this. Let's talk about the bathtub issue, like the bathtub, like breaking down of holy fuck. Like you talk about trauma to do with the systems that don't work, which I agree, completely valid, but also not great when it's trauma induced. But then you have this moment where you're like, we're fucked, the world's fucked, everything's fucked. We might as well just. So can you talk about that? Was that at the same time?
Yeah.
Early in the
I mean, so
timeline?
the biochemistry lab I paid for my college. So I
Yeah.
was working 25 hours a week in this biochemistry
Oh,
lab at the
yes, yes,
university
yes.
while being a full-time student. So
Yeah.
there was no physics career for me after college.
Yeah.
It was like straight up freelance marketing, which is
Yeah.
like it felt like a weird little side turn. But the bathtub that we're talking about is during this environmental fellowship that I was in
Yes.
at University of Michigan. One of the required classes was in just in, I don't even remember what the name of the class was, but
Yeah.
the professor brought on this carbon bathtub is what it's called, and you can find like you can Google it, you can find pictures of it,
Yeah.
and it's essentially a bathtub with there's a drain at the bottom of the bathtub like a normal
Mhm.
bathtub, and there's a faucet going into the bathtub like a normal bathtub.
Yep.
And it's all about the atmosphere can naturally at the current temperatures and with the current environments and climates that we have and
Yeah.
ecosystems that we have that we're able to survive in as humans,
Mhm.
there's a threshold where if there's more, and you can imagine there's carbon molecules coming out of the faucet
Yeah.
and there's natural systems that process the carbon, which
Yeah.
is the drain that comes out, like our oceans and trees and
Mhm.
other like composting and other things will actually process carbon and capture carbon in
Yeah.
onto Earth.
Mhm.
And if there's more coming out of the faucet than there is coming out of the drain, then the bathtub starts overflowing, starts
Mm.
filling up, it goes past that threshold. And you pretty much said, we're already past the threshold. And nothing has changed. By the way, this was 10 years ago. So,
Yeah, I know. It's only gotten worse.
it's only gotten worse. We haven't slowed down. And that was like we were already past the threshold if everyone stopped using all fossil fuels today.
Yeah,
Which was like not a pleasant message to get as someone who hasn't even started their career. And you're like, where's my future? Like,
yeah,
good fuck.
exactly. Far out.
And, yeah. But, and then just to turn this is what I eventually found permaculture, which is regenerative agriculture and like how indigenous peoples all over the world interact with and manage land around them. There are solutions that exist, like that is true on some capacity, but there are already things that we can do to actually mitigate climate change and mitigate, but we have to destroy the fossil fuel industry and a lot of things.
Yes. I've actually, one of my roles was teaching health and wellbeing programs inside the mining industry. So being in that industry in coal mining, I know. Again, I think that was the other thing that was really clear to me as I'm reading. I actually I went back on my phone looking at all of the bits that I'd highlighted in your book because I was trying to find like one key thing that and there's too much highlighted, so pretty much most of it's highlighted. But I think for me, one of the things that kept coming up when you were talking about the difference between an industrial way of running a business and regenerative way is that when you believe that the industrial way of doing things is the way, and that's the ocean that you're swimming in, you do things like working for a mining industry, which is completely against your value proposition because you believe that is well, I'm not going to say you. I believed, like at that time, I needed a job. This was the job that I could find that was in still doing the education that I wanted to. And so I put my blinkers on and I'm like, and yeah, so that mismatch or lack of alignment is what makes us like it contributes to you feeling literally sick to your soul about where you are and what you're supporting by not actually fighting against it. Hey, gorgeous. We interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode.
Yeah, but there, just to throw this in
Yeah.
what you just said, there definitely needs to be people who are working within the system to dismantle the system. It's not, that's
true.
where, like, coming to Hawaii for the first time, I work exchange on a farm at the Big Island in like 2010. That was like my first introduction to Hawaii before moving here. And a lot of people on the Big Island that move over there, it's this prepper mentality, which I'm a prepper, but like this prepper mentality of the world is fucked, so I'm gonna go find my little slice of paradise and screw you guys.
Yes.
Which is and on some level a natural response to what is happening, especially like this week in the US. It's like there's
don't even.
we're recording the first week of July. If anyone wants to like think back, and so it's I get it, but also that's not going to help the future. Like we need people who are working within the system, who are actively pushing against it.
Yeah.
Because like just going and bubbling yourself off, it's not contributing to
Yeah.
anything.
No, absolutely not. And it's not going to change any paradigm. It's just saying I'm going to put my fingers in my ear and blinkers on my eyes and forget that there's a paradigm and pretend that I can just opt out. No, no, you can't. When you went to Maui, so you're exposed to permaculture for the first time. I'm really interested in, I'm married to a rural firefighter. So they have, like we have historically treated our Indigenous people horrifically, as most countries that have been colonized have been. What I'm loving in terms of their like back burning practices now is that they are using more and more Indigenous ways of doing things like cold burning, for instance, because in Australia, like obviously we're getting hotter, we're getting drier. I live in country Queensland, so it's grasslands and we get to, I don't know, centigrade, I'm not really sure, but say 100 centigrade regularly across our summertime and really windy. Like it's wildfire conditions. And I know Maui's just had, because you guys had a big fire, didn't you? Like, how long ago was that now?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
last?
we're about to hit our 1 year out mark
Yeah, I was going
from
to say.
yeah, so it
Yeah.
was 11 months ago. And I do you want to go down this?
Yeah, go. Yes. Yes,
It's
yes.
been bad. Yeah. Because of Lahaina, which is where the fire was, and it's
Yeah.
one of the it used to be the capital of Hawaii, and that's where the king lived. And it used to be this lush place. They called it the breadbasket because of ulu, which is breadfruit.
Yes.
And there were all of these streams and waterways managed by the Hawaiians into these like acres and acres of fish ponds that were growing food and so lush and wet. And now, for anyone, if you've ever been to Maui and been to Lahaina, like it is a desert. What happened was, one, they privatized.
Humans. That's what
No,
happened.
humans,
Well, no.
not humans.
Yes.
The
No.
Hawaiians were doing fine.
Yeah, true. The wrong human.
Colonization and corporate, evil corporate people.
Yes.
But what happened was the water got privatized
Mhm.
and taken away from the people. It still is. It's still a huge political issue here. And they put in a sugarcane industry and then a pineapple industry. And
Right.
we deforested it. Forest is one of the best ways to actually not save our planet, but keep our planet hospitable for humans.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it locks water into the ground, it locks carbon into the ground, it produces shade, so to actually bring down the temperature of wherever you are.
Yes.
And so deforesting to grow sugarcane, and the way that you harvest sugarcane is by burning the field.
Yeah.
And so now it's a complete desert. They stopped all the farming over here because tourists. And now it's just, I don't know. It looks like a natural landscape, but it's not what it was at all. It used to be forested areas. And so now there was a fire last year that a lot of like there's so many like new age conspiracy theories that are like lasers from China and Italy. Like I say that because we get DMs like after my God, been a part of was on the ground immediately after the fires. And so it's as people who are literally there, it's so disrespectful. Please keep your laser talk over there.
Please. Yeah.
But there were tornado level winds that day. And the electrical line, what most likely happened, what the current speculation is, and there are lawsuits happening right now, or what most likely happened is a power line dropped and a spark hit a shake shingle roof, and it
that's
just
all it takes.
it off. And then, so yeah, it was. And on the positive side of regenerative business, I was able to take 4 to 6 weeks off from my business and continued forward. I literally got to, because we were behind the barricades. We had military barricades keeping people out, and we were within them. We were off grid. So we were literally the only people with Wi-Fi and cell reception because we have Starlink and off grid solar. So we were literally the communication hub. And it was
goosebumps. Because this is where I
like,
want to.
It was a demonstration of why we do this.
Yes.
And it's
exactly
fucking hard. Like it's been uncomfortable we've lived in tents for periods of time because of X, Y, and Z happening.
Yeah.
So being on the front end of wanting to be a part of this, the future of what humans need to do, it can be uncomfortable at times
Absolutely.
for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
It was just such a reinforcer to me of this is what the humans were inspired to do homesteading, inspired to be off grid, inspired
Exactly.
to be sovereign. Like
Hmm.
we were literally able to be the communication hub
Yeah.
and help people in a national disaster
Yeah.
because we had done the work.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've been binging on Sam podcasts all over the place.
Your podcast in a while,
Actually, I don't know. That's fine because there's a catalog, but because financial year in Australia is the end of 30th of June. So we do business in June,
Mhm.
like July to June. And so I'm listening to your New Year's episodes at the moment. Yeah. And one of the ones that I was listening to last night when I was walking my dogs at like sub-zero freaking temperature, you were talking about the fact that because you were talking about goal setting. And one of the things that really stuck to me is being able to utilize business as this ability to express your soul in the world, but it also gives you financial power. It gives you the ability to take time off to do exactly what you're doing, but it also gives you the ability to have the fucking energy to resist, right? Because the Industrial Revolution, basically, I really believe that part of the quid pro quo of that is keep people as busy and tired as they possibly can so they can't see what's actually going on. Do you want to talk to that? Because I feel like, so we've gotten to the permaculture stage and you're married to a regenerative farmer, which I freaking love because, yeah, that's why we moved to the country. It's, can we just find our little piece of land and do our own thing because I don't like anything that anybody else is doing? How did you have talk to me about the process of realizing that the same principles of regenerative farming could be applied to business. Was that like a bolt out of the blue, or were you doing it like anyway, naturally, but you didn't tie it together? Like, I'm really
Yeah,
interested in
I
that.
mean, I was already doing it in
Yes.
terms of, but not consciously. It was just like how I structure things
Yeah.
naturally. And then when I started writing the book, I'm meeting more and more people who are like this, where they don't know what they're going to write until they write it.
Yeah.
Or
That's
you
me.
start writing a book and you're like, oh, you literally
Yes.
develop concepts as
Hmm.
you write. Like
Yep.
that was that book.
Hmm. So
So
good.
So, like, the name around it, the framework, it was stuff I was already doing it, but to actually organize it in a fashion that was usable to other people
Yes.
was through the process of writing. So I recommend everyone write a book,
Yeah. Yeah.
please.
So do
Especially
I.
if you're neurodivergent.
Yes. I want to talk about that because the whole kind of concept of no one is naturally designed to be flourishing when they're stuck at a desk doing a job that they don't love for 40 something hours a week. But it's even more uncomfortable for people like us that are either neurodivergent or they're outside the box thinkers. So that there's already this, I don't know, a dissonance anyway between the environment. So why do you feel like, because I've got this theory about neurosparkly people, I call us, because we travel in flocks for starters. We get each other totally. But also, I believe that there is something about neurosparkly people that I like to think of us as the future humans. They're the people that are actually picking up on the patterns and the energy of things that are really broken, and we can't pretend we're okay with it. Whereas maybe some other people can. I don't know. I've never been another person. I probably have, but not in this lifetime. What do you reckon? Excuse me. Like, from your perspective of being an ADHD person running a business, I know you've got lots of Virgo though in your chart, so you're very organized as well. So, what do you reckon if someone's listening and they're neurodivergent or nonconformist in any way, can you talk about the basic principles of regenerative business as opposed to the cog in the industrial machine? Because I just don't feel like people know that this is even an option.
Yeah. So I feel like it always comes down to with business, you literally get to do what as a business owner, you literally get to do whatever you want. So why do all of us force ourselves to do things that we don't want? Yeah, in business, there are things that you have to do that you don't want to do,
Yes.
but like for the most part, most of it is optional.
Yeah.
And so with the industrial mindset and with the multiple industrial revolutions that have happened over the decades,
Mm-hmm.
it was originally around making things more profitable and efficient,
Mm-hmm.
but that was profitable and efficient for the 1%, the patriarchy, the man on top, the father. Like,
Yep.
it wasn't a better system for the workers. It wasn't a better system and I'm sure there was a period where buying something from a craftsman versus eh, the beginning of factories, like I'm sure there
Yeah.
was a period where it was totally great, but
Yeah.
then it was like more to the point
Mm-hmm.
where it lost the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
And so with having a business like a factory, and that's what every business coach, every business course, MBA programs, we've
Proliferating.
we're swimming in, so we don't even know to
Correct.
question it.
Yeah.
And it's all about how do we make our time more efficient? How do we make pay the less have the most profit,
Yeah.
pay the least amount we possibly can to our workers,
Mm-hmm.
get the most out of them. So it's very much about objectification, which is about making someone and something into an object versus
Yes.
multidimensional things. It's about standardization. There's one way to do it. There's one skin color.
Yeah.
There's one way to talk. There's one system. There's one
Oh my
process.
God.
There's one formula. And it's about money over everything. And it's
Yeah.
not money for everyone over everything. It's money for the person on top over
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. 100%.
Versus with regenerative business and with what I believe, how nature would design a business. And the metaphor that I keep going back to, getting my dog. Go doggy. Hello. The metaphor I always go into, and like if you've read Regenerative Business or if you will be reading Regenerative Business, you'll come to this where with the awakening I had with permaculture and regenerative agriculture was around how humans have designed food growing systems versus how nature would design food growing systems.
Yeah.
Where when we are like, if you're listening to this podcast, you already know that the conventional farming systems are fucked and like more pests, the stronger pests, like more chemicals.
Yep.
It's essentially slave labor, in some cases, actual slave labor,
Mm.
and not good for your health, less nutritious food because it makes more money.
Yeah.
Versus how nature designs a system, which is a forest. That's how they grow. That's food growing systems in nature are forests,
Yeah.
rainforests,
Mhm.
forest gardens with like indigenous people. Like you
Yeah.
see this human past. It's not about actually like making humans evil and saying humans need to stay separate from nature. It's actually no,
No.
we are a part of nature and we actually
Correct.
get to more, we can actually improve and make nature more fertile
Yeah.
by interacting with it. And I can share stories about that with my husband's work.
So cool.
But so with nature, how does nature design a business?
Mhm.
Nature actually, it's not standardizing time where we need to fit everything into a 40-hour work week, which most of or more, like some people are programmed to do an 80-hour work week
Oh,
because of how
like
they grew up and like, oh, we have to all have to be here at the same time so that the overseer can make sure you're working and make sure you're being efficient.
Mhm.
And it's the same year round versus nature. There are seasons, there are cycles on a
Mm.
daily, monthly, seasonal,
Yeah.
annual basis that change.
Yeah.
So time is actually seasonal and cyclical.
Mm.
Then with abundance, it's not just money. Like sometimes as a regenerative business owner, you choose to do things that make you less financial capital,
Yep.
but it ups your spiritual capital or
Mm.
your relational capital or your social wealth. There's so many, and there's 10 different kinds of capital that we go through in the book, but there are so many different ways of going through and changing your business. Okay, let's think of more. I'm like, I get excited.
I love what you were talking about with the biodiversity as well, because The way that humans have screwed with cropping is that the same piece of land is used for just one crop and it must yield as much as possible. And we will spray it with chemicals and genetically engineer the bloody seed in the first place so that you get more of the same thing. Whereas what you're talking about in the book is like that biodiversity piece of it's not, it does, like nature doesn't work like that. There's not and nature has this beautiful way of balancing itself with,
Yeah.
if something goes up, then something else goes down and all of those things that just naturally happen. I
Yeah.
really loved that concept.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see that with the people who are involved in your business and also in the
Mm.
offerings that you have within your business. Because if essentially what a acreage of salad and lettuce that you're
Yep.
growing is, it's a salad bar for bugs, and therefore how it's doing it is by spraying it with a bunch more chemicals
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
versus the natural system, which houses the predator animals, and predator
Yes.
bugs would eat the other bugs, and so there's
And control
this
them
balance.
naturally. Hmm.
Naturally, exactly. So
Yeah.
there is a reality as a part of a collective, as a part of this larger ecosystem that we're in your industry, in your country, or if you have a larger one, that like sometimes because of X, Y, and Z reason, a certain product you have isn't selling as well, or it's like no longer like something happened in the collective that would have a bunch of bugs eating it or like
Yes.
whatever. It's not a metaphor, but
I love
you
that.
actually having a diversity of offerings, a diversity of people in your business so
Yes.
that no matter what happens, there's an actual resilient system set up that can balance it out.
Mm, I love that. Do you know what else really struck me when you were talking about these concepts is like if I could take one single most like forehead smacking point was your business is not just you. Because I think for people like me who have been conditioned that like their worth is connected to how many hours that they work and da, 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 when I think about or when I feel into somatically growing my business, really up until the last few weeks when I know I keep on coming back to reading this book under the covers, but it literally did. I feel like it took my brain out and washed some things out and then put back together. Because I was like, because what I used to feel like is if I want to grow my business, and I have a small team, but if I want to grow my business, then that feels heavy and more responsibility. And so I was very clear that I was the rate limiting factor, like that belief system and that way of doing things. And when I read Your Business Is Not Just You, I was like, hang on a minute. I just had a chiropractic adjustment of my soul because that's completely different. And what you were saying before, like the way that you've designed your business so that it can continue without you is that you've got this ability to turn up for your physical in real life community and offer assistance, all sorts of practical help, but also what I love hearing about is now that your business is creating this one form of wealth, being financial wealth, I've actually got a seat at the table when things are being talked about in my local community. And you own land that you are impacting together with your husband. Like all of those things, I feel if you're listening and you're like, oh, this sounds so much better, like just bloody well read this book because I feel like it's just challenged a lot of things that I've been thinking. I'm interested for you going from, so you started off freelancing in originally, and then you worked in other people's businesses. What has it been like for you since the book's come out I'm not so much since the book's come out, but moving from being behind the scenes, maybe. I don't know how much. Were you behind the scenes? Were you known to be? Yes. So what's it been like with that transition? I'm interested.
Yeah. I started off with freelancing because right out of college, because my parents had both had
Yeah.
essentially freelance careers at some
Yes.
point, and it was a familiar thing and it didn't seem weird. And I just
Hmm.
pitched a business to being paid so little per hour. That's but it was great. Like the capital I got was experiential capital. Like it
Correct.
was so worth it.
And also not working in a job you hate. Being sovereign in the fact that at least you were.
Home, like all
Yes.
those things.
Yeah.
And So I just started as a marketing admin for a business that I thought was really cool, and
Yeah.
then just kept doing that, kept pitching businesses that I thought were cool to like do stuff behind the scenes for them. And
Yeah.
remember, I think it was 2015. I was at this by then I was very proficient in online course launches, and that was like a
Mm.
because I was working for an online astrology business that did tons
Yeah.
and tons of launches
So
and like
cool.
low end products. So it was like very volume oriented
Hmm.
versus the one big sale,
Yeah.
which a lot of like just do now, but versus selling thousands of $27 products. Yeah, yeah. And I remember it was so real for me that I loved being behind the scenes. I just remember it so strongly,
Hmm.
and it it was everything I wanted. And eventually when I realized, oh, I will never get past my income ceiling unless and I'll never be fully in charge of my finances unless I consider myself a business owner
Hmm.
and start building my own network, start building my own audience, start building my own assets that people and be known on some level. And
Yeah.
you don't have to have a big audience to have be a successful business owner, but that was a part of my path. And that transition was uncomfortable and hard. And I did the hypnotherapy sessions. That's what I was all around business. Like I did stuff to get over that barrier. But it's interesting. The person that I am now, who is incredibly comfortable in public, incredibly comfortable being on front of a stage or talking to a group of people
Yeah.
or consulting. And it's the same person. And also it's different.
Yeah. That's what I'm asking, is I am really interested in that, because one of the things that you have included in the book resources is like links to like talking to the soul of your business. And I've started using the Grace hypnotherapy app because I had never done any sort of hypnotherapy before. I'm like, I was more like tapping or like somatic
Yeah.
processing sort of stuff. I'm I'm addicted. Like,
I love it
that's
so
the
much. Therapy platform I use. I used one of their therapists to doing when I was doing that with
MG.
getting over video stuff.
So good. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm addicted. And I'm glad that you mentioned this, because one of the things that I was really curious about is you talk a lot about there's the soul of your business, there's the team in your business, you're part of the business, but the soul, something else that I really loved hearing, I think it was in one of your podcasts with, is it Julia, Energy Work with
Yeah.
Julia? Yes, I can't remember the
Julia
first name. Starts
Elbain
with
is
A.
Radical
Thank you.
Healer.
Excellent.
Yes.
And you both were talking about how you do this like meditation process, and like she was talking about, oh, and then when I go and connect with my business, there's like a new temple and a this and a that and a whatever. And I had this really cool experience where I'd done your meditation, talking to the soul of my business. I'd done a Grace hypnotherapy one where you go to your safe place. They had joined up. And so now there's this entire magical place that I go to every evening.
Gosh.
Very cool. But yeah, when you were talking about it, I was like, I'm really interested to hear, because you talk about practicing magic. So what are your mindset, energy, magical like practices or rituals that help you to stay connected to the ecosystem of your business?
Yeah.
I'm asking such long
I'm
questions. I'm sorry.
who love I got into spirituality before I got into business. So it's like something that I could almost consider a hobby. Can it be a hobby? I don't know. I have tried so many things over the year. I love switching it up. I think there's definitely I'm in Gemini rising, so no surprise.
Yeah.
And there are people who do one thing and they commit to it, and that
is not
transform
me.
their life being devoted to one thing. And I think that's beautiful. That has not been my
Here, sparkly people don't tend
like
to.
a thing. It's interesting. So right now, I usually don't experience a new month, but this month for like July 1st hit, and I was just like, new month energy. I'm gonna do a bunch of new habits, and we haven't done it in so long. And so
It's
I was
starting
like,
on a Monday though. That's why. It's a
yeah,
Monday first
that's
of the month.
but I was like, I know all the things that make me feel incredible, like on a physical level.
Yes.
I feel like I'm like in charge of my abundance. So I was like, I'm gonna try at least like like I have like this crazy list of a bunch of things that I'm committing to for 31 days. Yours looks way better than mine.
You know, some of these are such simple things like drink 3.5 liters of water. Like you would think that you don't need to be reminded about that, but I do. So that's all right. So that's what works.
Well, I'll mention some ones that I'm currently
Yeah,
working
yeah.
on, and
Go for it.
these are more physical energy focused because
Yes.
I feel like I'm good on the
Yeah, you're
money side, the
tweaking.
business side.
Yes.
Like I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't need to like invest a bunch of energy into that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's transcendental meditation, which is something. It was my first form of meditation when I was
Mm-hmm.
19,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, I haven't done it in years. I'm like, I'm just gonna do that twice a day, 20 minutes, and like,
Yeah.
feel it again.
Cool.
Not drinking. I'm comfortable drinking, but I always feel like I feel just insane levels of energy when I don't drink. So I'm like, do that for July.
Yeah.
Eating my 5 to 6 servings of veggies. But yours have got basic stuff in it too. Good. Yeah, like the stuff that you know you should be doing. Dancing to one song a day.
Oh, I love that.
It's like you feel on a spiritual level, but also there's been like more cool research coming out that it's actually the best way to address depression and prevent depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better than any medication and better than any other therapy or somatic stuff. Dance is actually the number one. So go dance to a song today.
Dance and then follow it up with a bloody walk in nature if you're looking for bonus points. Because as soon as I feel stuck in my head, I'm like, when was the last time that I went outside and had the sun and the breeze and the whatever's on my skin?
That's already a habit for because I have 2 little dogs. So like every morning we do, and we don't live near people, so we can just like walk outside for 30 minutes. And we're in nature. The 5 Tibetans, which is
Yes,
like
I know the 5
you know what I'm
Tibetans.
talking about?
Yes, yes.
Always make me feel so good.
Yes, me too. Oh my God, I haven't done them for years. I learned them from my very first yoga teacher that also then taught me like Oriental psychology and traditional Chinese medicine, shiatsu. And it was when I was in the medical science and I was just like, this cannot be the only way of looking at this. And then I found this guy and so I learned the 5 Tibetans.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
have to
doing
revisit.
There's a book called Shakti Mantras.
Oh, yes.
You know that book?
Yes, I do. Oh my God. Again, same master.
This is one of the things. So I'm doing one of the Lakshmi meditations, which is abundance oriented, and I definitely see results in my life around that.
Wow.
So those are some of the things that and then morning pages. Because I hate journaling. Like I hate it so much, but it's also the thing that makes me feel amazing. Yeah.
This is, well, I don't have it with me. I've got this amazing journal I was given by someone I'm working with in a spiritual mentorship, and it's got this big like dragon on the front, and it's just called the I Am, and there's no words or anything in it. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can try it. And I'm on about, I think, month 3 of every day. And I'm like, oh my God, like when I don't do it, I don't feel as well as when I do it. And I'm like, this is part of being a clearer channel. Get the shit out of your head or the whatever. Like it doesn't have to be shit, but yeah, that is, one of my pillars.
Yeah. So, and it's been cool to focus more on the me oriented stuff because once you get past like, money blocks and money mindset and like all this, because money is a central part of business.
Yeah.
Like, or you have an expensive hobby. So there's a lot of stuff at the beginning of your business and time oriented stuff of, I can't pay someone to do something I don't like doing because that you feel guilty around it. Like that sort of, or
I think that's where I am. Like, can I really do? Can I really?
Yeah.
No,
people want to do that. They want
work. Yeah.
And like it's somatically deconditioning the 40-hour work week. That's a real thing.
Oh,
what's interesting because I swung back and forth where I worked a lot to the point of just because I was trained to, like in my body, I was trained to work this amount. So it felt unnatural to work less.
Yes.
And there was a 6-month period where I forced myself to only work 20 hours a week. And which was like my business was set up to be able to do that. And like, everything was great. And I hated it.
Can you talk more about this? Because one of the things that you mentioned, and like I said, I've been binging on all sorts of podcasts that you've been on, so I have no idea when you actually said this, but you actually did mention that Eddie, your husband, is by nature like high energy and likes to get out and amongst it. And so for you, when you were adjusting this, like recalibrating to not working as much, that was a bit like, this is a bit tricky
It
when
was just
I'm,
right in front. Is if I was
yeah,
living alone, it was like no big deal because like you
yeah,
just. But then there's like someone who's working like 12 hours a day, and you're just like, hi.
yes. So can you talk more about that? Because I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's right. Can I really just take it like a,
Is it? Is it with? Is it specifically next to your husband?
no,
Is it?
I think it's compared to the way that, like, it's just my conditioning. Like, I'm used to, I've always ended up, especially in corporate jobs where I'm at the top of the tree, and the way that I'm at the top of the tree is working really fucking hard. And I'm just like, so there's a level of, and I think the grace hypnotherapy is really cracking this because I'm really noticing, like yesterday, I like sat down to do something and I'm usually very structured and I like that masculine like structure and then I flow in. And I sat down and I looked at my to-do list yesterday. And I was like, I'm fucking. And usually my conditioning and the way that I've always been in the world would be like, sit your ass down, get it done. That's what you said you were going to do. You can't
Yeah.
not do it. And I'm like, this is my business. I can do whatever I want. But
Yeah.
it's discombobulating for me at the moment
Yeah.
to reset that. So I'm very interested in how you
Well,
decondition.
there's okay, a few different layers with this. One of them is realizing that there's probably like the 80-20 principle that you've heard everywhere, like it's true. There's probably 1 hour of every day of actions that you take that actually matter in your business.
Exactly. And move the
And
needle in the
what
direction
if
you
you
want.
just didn't do at least half of the other stuff? Because we're just literally filling time because we feel like we need to. That's like on the mental level. Understand that there's probably like 15 minutes between 15 and 2 hours
Yep.
that a day that like the stuff that you're doing actually
100%.
matter for your business.
You're speaking to me. You're speaking to me, Sam. My body is going,
That-
yeah, see?
That's another like a hack that I really like that it doesn't get to the root of it for sure. Like doing the somatic work and the hypnotherapy work to feel comfortable and safe by being in a slower, like down-regulated
Yes.
space and not being
Yeah.
driven by cortisol, like that do that too, but a hack that I like is fill your time with other things.
Yeah.
Actually go out for do your 10,000 steps a day,
Yeah.
go schedule lunch with a friend, sign up for a ceramics class, start writing your book, and fill the
Yes.
time with other things, because
Yeah.
then if it will actually calm down that type A part of you that, "Oh, the time is filled with things."
Yeah, exactly. It's just that, see, yeah, when I was reading Regenerative Business, one of the things you were saying was go and book in for 10 things that you're interested in that you've
Mhm.
never given yourself permission to do. And I'm an artist in my spare time, but I still am not taking the time and making the time to go back to my art class where, like, I live in a little country town, but there's this really cool art class on Wednesdays where everyone comes and just works on their project. And there's like kind of a mentory person, but it's just so
I
cool,
agree with
right?
that. That sounds amazing.
Do I make the time to do it? No, because my little brain keeps saying, no,
Right.
it's wasting business time. And I'm like, oh, when I do it, I'm so much more inspired and creatively lit up to then come back and do that 20% of tasks that you're talking about. So anyway,
So,
continue.
and like a little like mindset thing that I really like for stuff like this, and I put in the book credit to Julia Wells. She was the first time I heard this,
Yes.
but that self-care is a profit generating activity.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the big
I
highlighted ones.
if you can just in again, like it's not I don't think it's we ultimately want to not have profit
The
be
measure.
the thing
Yes.
that we're putting over everything. But
Mhm.
in the interim, that is a really helpful one. So if you start being like, art class is a profit generating activity.
Yeah. 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 And stop ignoring it in my calendar.
This art class is good for business.
Yeah. Art class is good for, it's just good for Kylie. And good Kylie is good for business, right? That's really what we're coming down to. sorry, I interrupted you when you were talking about your energy and magical. I want what's some of your magical practices?
Okay, so I
Because
want to go back to because I
yes,
feel like what people ultimately want around magical stuff is usually results oriented, which I'm totally into. But things that I like on the magical realm that for business
yeah,
is I think one thing to go back to the ecosystem stuff, it's
yes,
one little practice a day you can connect in with the soul of your business. You can grab the free meditation. I'm sure you'll put it
yeah,
somewhere in the show.
yes,
Uh,
yeah.
it's a guided meditation to meet the soul of your business, and people love that meditation.
I am in love
You
with
can
it.
you can do it every week, you can do it once a month, you can do it
Mhm.
just one time and
Yep.
literally just soul of your business,
Yeah.
but then have a practice, even if it's just like having your favorite tarot deck and pulling a card, ask it, be like, my
Yep.
intention for this pull is to get a message from the spirit of my business, the soul
Yes.
of my business, and pull
Love.
a card. That takes 10 seconds.
Hmm. Yep.
Or if you have a meditation practice, like if you can take 10 seconds in that meditation to be like, okay, does the spirit of my business, does the soul of my business have anything to tell me today?
Mhm.
And it can be as simple as that.
Yeah.
So onto magical practices, things that I really love. There's and when we're talking magic, I really am into occult magic.
I know
Witchy
you mean
shit is
literally. I'm
like
like, "Ooh."
totally into it. There's this author called Damon Brand, and it's like a pen name.
I
Yeah.
ordered one of his books after you mentioned that a
I'm a
couple of weeks
fan. Like
ago.
he's a part of the Gallery of Magic. It's like that's a group of unknown. They literally cannot figure out who these people actually
Yeah.
are, which I kind of love.
Me too. I love the behind the curtains vibe with that. It's like,
But
"Ooh."
they have a ton of books. I use them on a regular basis. You can buy them for I don't know, between $3 and
Yeah.
$20
I
on
think even
Kindle.
to get one to Australia was only like $19, which is like so cheap for shipping from Amazon to Australia.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I Magical Riches is a great book. Words of Power, great book. It's all by this Damon Brand, and you can see all of them. And
So
there's
good.
things that literally take less than 2 minutes to do, and
Yeah.
they do the hard work for you, and it makes you feel very powerful.
Yeah. Do you know, I love this so much because it talks to the fact that there's so many unseen,
Mm.
supportive, benevolent,
Yeah.
I don't, whatever language you want to put to it, whether it's spirits or guides or God or the universe or whatever, like how, whatever language you use to categorize, not categorize, but capture that. It comes back to in my mind and how I feel about it of the same sort of thing as it's not just up to you. Like that there's a support team, right? So you can ignore them. That is definitely an option. But if you are open to magic, why not? Why not ask for support or ask for guidance or whatever? I have, since I started doing that meditation, I've got two different things that I journal on in the mornings. One is a Liz Gilbert question, which is, hello, love, what would you have me know today? And then the second question, so if I either do both or the other one is, hey, soul of my business, what have you got for me? And sometimes it's not much at all. Other times, like this morning, it was very, very clear on this is something we want you to do. And I'm like, oh, okay, here I am. But just the concept of being able to, yeah, connect and ask, and then also do that meditation. And yeah, like I said, my business, like I've just got this beautiful like forestscape, and there's this gorgeous stream going through, and all these magical things. And I'm like, that is as can be as real for your mind to connect to as conditioned negative association mindset stuff. So why not use it for positive?
Another really fun one that was such a foundational part for me was doing working with the planetary deities, which is they're just it's a very common form of magic
Yeah.
where and it's one of the
Love
oldest
that.
form of magic for humans
Yes.
because there was always this relationship. If you go to any
The
culture,
stars.
there's some sort of relationship with the
Hmm.
planets, like the
Yeah.
actual planet with your eyes.
Yes.
Um, and so there's great schools of thought around it. What I find really great for neurodivergent people. I find that neurodivergent people usually have their there's this connection between metaphor and seeing patterns and connections with things that I think is beyond
100%.
the neurotypical brain
Yep, 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 yep.
that is inherent in magic. So if you're doing, and you can find
Ooh.
out, if you go to my website and look on the blog, we have a full series on planetary magic.
Oh, okay,
You
cool.
can just like Google Jupiter Dirty Alchemy, which is the name of my business, and you'll
Yes.
find like the Jupiter blog or Venus Dirty Alchemy, and you'll find the Venus blog, and it takes the basics is like every day of the week is literally named based on the planet. Like
Yes.
Monday, Moon Day, Tuesday is Tears Day, which is Aries, or is Mars,
What's
and
Thursday?
Thursday is Thor's Day, which is Jupiter. And Jupiter
Oh.
is the planet, like Jupiter's a great planet to work with around money and expansion and
Yeah, yeah,
growth.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like the common business one to
That's
work on.
very
And I
cool.
still have a Thursday. So every Thursday, you can, basic steps is like create a little altar space in your home. This can be just a little shelf. It can be a corner of a table.
Mhm.
It can be a drawer.
Mhm.
And decide on the planet that you want to work with. Choose one.
Ooh, okay, yes.
And then on their day of the week, which is very easy to find, she'll like,
Yes,
you
yeah.
can say Jupiter day of the week, and
Yeah,
it'll
day
tell
of the
you.
week. Yeah, yeah.
Google will tell you Thursday.
Yeah.
Um, and or look at my blog series on this, and then you can create a little altar with things that Jupiter likes. And the fancy term around this is Jupiter correspondences.
Ooh.
And you will find just this massive list of herbs and plants and
Oh, I love
colors and gemstones and themes. And you get to make a cute little altar with, it can be as simple as, okay, Jupiter loves blue. So maybe you put like a little blue piece of fabric down, and
Mhm.
he likes whiskey. So on Thursday,
Oh.
you give him a little shot of whiskey. You don't have to drink it. So you're making an offering to him.
Yeah.
You can just, and what I find great about this is with these planetary deities, you get to be the human form of what they want.
Yes.
It's not like you're
Mm.
taking money from Jupiter
Right.
by working with him. Instead,
Yeah.
you get to be the physical manifestation of Jupiter's desire, which is more abundant. Wealth.
Abundance.
Not abundance, it's actually wealth. Like
Yeah. Oh, end of, yes.
and
Yes, yes, yes.
expansion.
Yeah.
And like he's like really this expansive, almost, and it can be like overindulgent energy, which is like a fun little thing.
I was born on a Thursday.
Me too.
That's why I asked, because myself and my two daughters, who are 12 months apart, are all Thursday kids, and we're all eights in numerology as well. So it's like repeat. But the reason I ask is I just had my Chiron return, and it's Jupiter in the 10th house, which I actually am not sure what. I have had a reading about it, but I have to go back to it. But
is work and
yeah, work and yeah, global stage type of stuff. I don't know. Like I did have a reading, and I had one with, I can never remember what the proper name for the astrology is, but the traditional is Hellenistic. Hellenistic, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I had a really cool reading, but I haven't listened back yet because I just wanted it to settle, because that was in eclipse season in April, where I was in New Zealand traveling, and found myself on the top of a cliff face listening to this amazing meditation. It was all very.
We're halfway through the eclipse. We're 3 months out and 3 months before the next eclipse.
I'm going back to it. Oh my God, you've been such a delight. Now, I did want to say your business name is The Dirty Alchemy. So that's where you will find Sam on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere is Dirty Alchemy, isn't it? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and it's the Dirty Alchemy.
Yes,
So
the dirty.
finding it. There's a the in front of it.
Yes, it comes up anyway, because I wasn't sure about that or not. The other thing that I would say is you've given us a link that we'll put in the show notes, which is for the free chapters of Regenerative Business. I think don't screw around with the free chapters, just buy the book and then get the book bonuses, because everything we've talked about today is inside of that. But also, when I was prepping for this chat, I came across, I really love the series that you've written. I think it's 5 parts for the Regenerative Business Creation Lab. So I might actually put that in there too, because it was like, this is a synopsis of the book and why this doesn't work. This does. Try this on for size. So if you're interested and you want an intro, there's also that as well, which is amazing. So thank you for coming to us. I love that our backgrounds are like complementary colors too. It's very nice. I've been enjoying that. Thank you so much, Sam Garcia. You've been a bloody legend.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a
No,
blast. Oh, just thanks for everyone for listening. This really can we are part of nature and we need more people aligning with nature because it is a much stronger force and a much more powerful force to tap into than the fake structures that exist in the world right now. And if we want to be able to make true change and make it in a way that is the least abrasive, the least abrasive experience as possible, you want to start now before you have to. And you want to tap into nature because that flow is in your DNA. And so when you actually tap into it, it's not going to be I have to fit myself into a box. It's it's flow. Dream.
Exactly. Exactly. Stop extracting. Just, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Wild and Finally Fucking Free. I'm Kylie, your host. And given that I know you would have enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor and subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow freedom seekers. Remember, being seen in all our mess and magic helps heal ourselves and the world, because the world needs more wild and finally fucking free humans. Have a great day.